Hey guys, CG Inferno here today, and today I'm bringing you my impressions, or basically review of Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion, which is one of the new entries into the series and a new mecha game, which seems to be quite a bit coming out right now. So basically I'm going to give my overall thoughts on the game, the gameplay, the story, the customization, PC performance, and whether or not you should buy it or not. But before we begin, I do want to say thank you for Marvelous for providing a review code for this, so shout outs to them. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. So if you weren't aware, this is obviously a sequel to the original game where it takes place 100 years after the original on a distant planet known as the Blue Planet. So essentially you play as a person or a race called the Outers, who are individuals basically gifted with special abilities from exposure to the energies called femto in the game, and they essentially had a big old war back in the day and everything, and now they're more or less somewhat at war, or basically they're not as liked from humans as well. So you play as an Outer who's basically saying, nah, I don't want to be with the group anymore. You try to escape with your friend. Your friend allows you to escape, but he gets hit in the process. I go back and save him. Doesn't work out, and then you end up falling onto the planet as described before. Then you obviously meet some humans there. Essentially you get there, you help out a few other people, they help you, and then you somewhat become a bit bonded. You meet other new humans there as well, and some other Outers as well, and yeah, it essentially becomes into a whole thing of like trying to stop the bad guys per se to destroy the world. Now the story is a bit of an interesting one, right? Because bearing in mind I have not played the original one in so long, so it's kind of fuzzy in my head. But it did start off slightly slow. Some of the characters didn't really click to me to an extent, especially Ash. Like that guy, he seemed like he was just complaining 24/7. Like, good God, I said, bro, this guy needs to like shut up sometimes. But it's good reason why he's doing it, because later down in the story you kind of understand why he has all this resentment to Outers and everything, or why he's like so passionate to beat them, or like beat his enemies as well. So yeah, it's definitely one to keep an eye out for. But the story does start to pick up after chapter 12, which, or I'll say mission 12. So the way they do chapters is a bit weird. It's not like the other ones where you have one chapter, you've got a bunch of missions. Like every chapter is basically a new mission. So yeah, after that one, that's when it starts to pick up, and then even later on it picks up even more. Obviously now I'm not going to discuss what happens there because spoilers and stuff, but to be honest, after a while I was definitely intrigued by the story. So I feel the developers and everything, they've done a pretty good job of continuing the story. I'm not too sure if they're going to do a third game. I wouldn't mind seeing it, but I feel that there is a bit more story material to be used for a third game, or maybe even a DLC, but that remains to be seen. But overall, the story has been pretty solid for the most part. Obviously, it's a bit on the slower side at the start. Now, in terms of side content in the game, there are a fair amount to do. So essentially these side content is just like extra missions that you can do, with some of these NPCs having like their own storylines as well, which some of them are good, some of them are a bit, typical, some of them are a bit, yeah, do you really want to do it or not? But overall, I felt most of the side content was quite nice. They give you a fair amount of money, they give you a fair amount of equipment to use. And in terms of like their own storyline, I thought some of them were pretty decent for the most part, to the point I felt some of them could have probably been integrated to the main story, but you can't fit everything into it, but overall, yeah, I was pretty surprised with how much side content there is. Obviously if we're going for 100%, it is going to take quite some time, but I managed to finish the game in about 15 hours. Bearing in mind I was playing on normal mode. If you're playing like on hard or something, it might take a bit longer. Do note though that you can actually do this game multiplayer, so if you've got a few friends that you want to play with, or you just want to play with randoms online as well, that can be done with the story as well. Just keep in mind that if you're ahead, your friends cannot join you in that mission. You essentially have to go back and help them with their mission, and then you can continue on from there as well. So that is also a nice feature as well. But overall, I am pleasantly surprised by the story and the side content as well. Gameplay in the game is quite interesting for the most part. So compared to the original, it's a lot better, a lot more fluid, a lot more high octane action, high speed. You know, everything's just in your face, very fast, you know. Though I still feel it's somewhat clunky to an extent, especially with the items. I use it essentially, if you're on the controller, you have to hold the D-pad down and then select which items you want. Obviously you can have one item there ready, so when you just press it and not hold it, you can use that item instantly. But if you want to use different ones, you have to hold it, scroll through the rail with your right analog stick, and then, you know, you can press the R stick to use it. And when you're in combat, let's be honest, you're not going to be able to do that unless you're like doing like a claw grip style, which I don't really do half the time, and if I do it, it's definitely taxing on my hands. So I feel in that department they could have improved a bit more, or at least give us like different combinations to be able to use items. I think that would have been a lot better. Now in terms of the weapons in the game, there is a lot. I wasn't expecting this much weapons at all. Like, I was very surprised, which is a good thing, you know, because when it comes to these mechs games, you kind of want to, you know, have a variety of weapons, a variety of armors, and even more stuff as well. Like the amount of weapons you have, what, laser blade, you have a normal blade, two-handed blade, lance, so many mace. There's so many to list, right? Some of them you even get through like special drops, which you get through these like certain bosses that you either find in the field or in the story. And these bosses, they can easily be farmed through the option that you get through the game. You just go to the desk and you just select which one you want to do, select your partners, and go and do it. So essentially, if you want to get a certain set of armor, you have to farm that specific boss. Obviously you might not be lucky, they might not drop that specific part, but it's there. And then once you get that part, you go to the development area, you develop it, and then that's your armor sorted out. But yeah, there is a lot to take in with this stuff. I'm very happy that there is a fair amount of weapons to be used, because at least gives, you know, each player a variety to use. And obviously there are loadouts as well in the game, so if you're a person that likes to have multiple loadouts or multiple builds, this is honestly like a godsend for you. You have a fair amount to do. So if you want a build that's like super lightweight and you want it to be like very fast, very mobile and everything, you can do that. You want one that's like super heavyweight, you can do that. If you want one that's like in the middle ground, you can do that. If you want to mix and match here and there, you can do that. If you want different weapons on certain builds, you can do that. For like certain, say, so for this specific boss, this build works perfectly, so you can just have it there. So there is a fair amount to be done. I kind of wish you could name your loadouts, but apparently you can't, unless I'm like just stupid and I didn't see it, but I saw no way to do it. I could be wrong. If I am, I'll let you know in the comments. That would be nice. And then there's also the mutation. So mutation is a new thing in the game, essentially, where you as a character, you absorb certain mutations that you gain through like certain enemies. Well, not say like any enemy can drop it, but in terms of like the major bosses and stuff that you see in the world and from the story, they will always drop it regardless. These mutations can give you like passive abilities or skill abilities or stuff to just like help you yourself. So passive ones is just like more burn resistance, more attack, more HP. There's a lot to be done. Then you got ones for your weapons, which allow you to do like helm splitter, spin around with your gun and shoot until you stop with or run out of stamina, combo frost, which was like probably my go-to for when I was using the lance. And yeah, there's so much that you can do with it, and thankfully the game actually gives you a like combination list to see how to get these mutations and stuff. So obviously if you're trying to go for like the perfect build, this is gonna eat up a lot of time into your playtime. But you know, I think this is a game where it's just there that you can continuously play when you need to. Got your friend to play with, just makes it faster, makes it more fun. But yeah, in terms of combat and everything, I think they've done a good job. Gameplay wise, everything else pretty solid. Difficulty wise, let's talk about that. So bear in mind, I was playing on normal. I did play the demo on hard when it first came out, and when I'm playing on hard, it was good for the most part. You know, it's pretty balanced, right? Main game, I was like, you know what, let me just go normal because, you know, I'm kind of running out of time. Let me just be done. So for the most part, it was good. Very balanced. You know, nothing too hard, nothing too crazy, nothing too easy for, right? Okay, maybe some boss fights were a bit easy for me, but you know, I enjoy these types of games, so you know, I kind of have a feeling for most of it. However, there was one specific boss fight where, I kid you not, I said, bro, this has, I've either got to be doing it wrong or they just need to not test this one out. So this boss fight, he essentially can clone himself like 4 times. So there'll be 5, there'll be like essentially hit the main one and like 4 others, so there's 5 in total. And these guys will just do an insane amount of damage or stagger damage to the point you will get stunned. They'll steal your femto energy and then you can't even fly. And in that boss fight, I think I died like I've got a good 7-8 times. Now bearing in mind, if you're just playing on offline, which I was doing throughout the whole playthrough, you would only have your AI with you, and in that fight you only have 1 AI. Now I'm not too sure how it is when you have a bunch of your friends or you're playing online with other randoms. It might be an easier time, probably be even a way easier time, because at least then if you're playing with your friends, you can somewhat coordinate and just pretty much demolish the boss. I'm not too sure how the balancing works there, but I'm assuming they might put them a bit up just because, you know, you've got a fair amount of people, you're just going to steamroll through like half the bosses. But yeah, apart from that boss, no, everything else was good. To be honest, I felt the final boss was easy, you know, like compared to that boss I was talking about. Yeah, the final boss was like a cakewalk, honestly, which was kind of a letdown. I was expecting a bit more from it, but you know, it happens. Those are games for you. Overall, I think gameplay wise, they've done a good job, especially from the original, because from what I remember, the original was pretty rough. So it seems they found what can work for the game, and you know, going forward, maybe they can just build upon that as well. Now, in terms of the optimization of the game, I was playing on the PC version. So okay, I keep saying this when it comes to these games and I play on PC, right? I have like one of the top of the line PCs, right? Minus a 59, I have a 58 currently, but I've got a 9950X 3D, I've got 64 gigs of RAM. So yeah, my PC should essentially manage to run all these games no problems. But we know in this day and age, especially like Unreal Engine 5 games, like you can struggle to even hit 60 in some games, especially if you're playing in like 4K as well. But safe to say, in this game it runs very smooth for the most part. I think there are like a few hiccups here and there, but you know, I'll say like 99% of the time I didn't run into no issues, nothing, except for like the one crash I had. And funny enough, it's just because I left my like I was like on the game over screen, I went somewhere and it just crashed. I'm not too sure why, but you know, apart from that, the game has run flawless. Got no issues about it. It's got a fair amount of decent graphical options that you can choose from, and yeah, I guess my only issue is that, you know, when it comes to these PC games, I kind of wish they have the option to, you know, select which monitor the game you want it to be on. That's always a nice feature in my opinion. I think that should be a standard for every PC game going forward now, you know, because a fair amount of people do play it with multiple monitors and sometimes at different resolutions as well. But apart from that, PC optimization has been good. That's good to hear. Obviously, I'm not too sure how it is with like lower end PCs, but the demo is there for you guys to test it out just in case if you don't know. But yeah, overall, solid port. So yeah, that has essentially been my impressions or review for Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion. Overall, I am happy with the game. I enjoyed it for the most part. I enjoyed the combat, I enjoyed the variety of controls, sorry, not controls, but the variety of weapons and armor that you can get in the game. I enjoyed the farming, I enjoyed the mutations that you can get and what abilities you can get through them. Difficulty I enjoyed for the most part. The loadouts is a godsend. You can also use decals as well to like really spice up your loadout to make it stand out. And PC performance has been good, you know, in this day. Like to say that in this day and age is like they're blessed to the extent, right? But yeah, everything's been good so far. I'll just say maybe the story. I mean, the story's pretty decent for the most part. I feel it's just some parts definitely dragged a bit, but you know, it's nothing too crazy, man. Especially, you know, Lost Soul aside, yeah, we all know kind of what happened with that game at the moment, man. But yeah, even the voice acting was really good. Like, I played in English and I thought it was like very good for the most part. Like, they got some good VAs in there as well. Because I was like, hold on, I kind of recognize some of these voices. When I saw them in the credits, I was like, yeah, am I not surprised they're here? But yeah, safe to say, if you're looking for a new mech game or even just like a new action game, I would say I honestly recommend this game. Now, as for what version to get, that I'll probably just say stick with the normal one, because I feel the other two editions, they're a bit too expensive for what they're offering right now. But yeah, honestly, good game. I would recommend it. You know, if you don't obviously have the funds for it, I'd say wait for a sale, but if you do, I'll say grab it. It's really good. You will enjoy the time of it. But yeah, that has been me with my review. I hope you guys enjoyed this a bit more casual review, or impressions you want to call it, and I will see you guys in the next video.